Today, I wanted to talk to you about why it's worth giving self-care school and the stuff that I teach a chance. I'm sure if you're here and you're reading these messages and listening to the videos, you probably tried loads of stuff before, and there's probably been some stuff that worked for a bit or worked and sort of scratched the surface a tiny bit, but actually things don't always seem to stick. And that's what I wanted to address in this very short video. Because what I find with a lot of the self-help work that I had done, and believe me, I had tried so many things before I came to this work, was that the stuff that I was being taught was looking at the symptoms. It wasn't looking at the actual root cause as to what was causing the problems in the first place. And it certainly wasn't teaching me how I could address these things myself. It was teaching me that if I went back to these particular methods, whatever it was, whether it was a course, whether it was a type of alternative therapy, whether it was some kind of teacher or guide, if I kept going back to them, then I could find the answers. What's different about self-care school is it teaches you how to find your own answers. And the reason why this stuff works is because it isn't just looking at finding quick fix solutions. It's actually looking at retraining your brain to be able to think in different ways. And some of that is about untangling some of the old stories that we've got from the past. It isn't just about reframing things and looking at things in a fresh light. It's actually about learning how to think about things in a brand new way. What is really special about this, and this honestly, I cannot express it enough. It was like the very last thing that I needed. I'd spent so much money, so many methodologies that were perfectly fine, but they didn't give me the sense of freedom and liberty and sense of coming home to myself that I was seeking. What's different about this is that it gives you the tools to be able to believe in yourself. If you're like most people I know, you'll probably occasionally find yourself saying things like, I would never speak to somebody else the way that I speak to myself. This is the thing that enabled me to undo that. And what's really different about this is because of the way that I teach and because of who I am, it integrates all of the things that are important to me. And that is having a real solid awareness of social justice and the systems that play into our society and the way that we are taught. Generally, we're taught that change is about willpower. If you have enough discipline, you can stick to particular systems and then you will get better. And actually, I believe that you're perfectly fine the way you are, but there is also probably some things that you've been taught that just are not very kind or gracious to yourself, especially the ways that lots of us are socialized. It is about keeping ourselves as small and downplaying and often being as mean to ourselves as possible and putting everybody else first so that we're left with quite a deficit. We feel like we're quite bereft of the kind of care that we give to other people. This work is not about trying to brute force willpower, productivity, culture your way into being a better person. This is about looking at changing the way that we think about things. It is not ignoring structural oppression. It is looking at the things that we've been taught around us and how much of that stuff that we've absorbed, how much of that stuff that we've repeated so much that we think that it's our own voices, and how much the stuff that we're just sort of so surrounded by that we might think is irrelevant, but actually can be playing into some of the ways that we trip ourselves up and we self-sabotage. This isn't about trying to force any kind of positivity onto yourself. It's about looking at individual thoughts, identifying them and going, is that something that I want to keep or not? And that's a really simple, repeatable methodology that we learn together and that you can repeat for any circumstance that's causing you suffering. It's not about right or wrong. It's about going, am I liking what this is getting me in my life? And if it isn't, how can I change it? And that's what we look at together. So to close this video, I just wanted to give you some sort of just a few things to work on and see if this might be some of the sort of work that might be beneficial for you, that might be something that you can apply these tiny little things to your life and see if it is the kind of thing that's useful. So number one, if you've got pen and paper there, write down one negative belief that you have about yourself, something that you say to yourself quite often that makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, could be as small or as big as you like, and just ask yourself, whose voice is this? And the second thing I want you to ask yourself is, does this align with my values? And then the third question is, if I did not believe this thing about myself, how would my life be different? just some questions for you to work on. Feel free to hit reply in the email if there's anything that comes up that you'd like to either work on together or you're interested that these small questions can bring up so much for you. I'll put a little link at the bottom of the email. There is a little link to be able to hop onto a free 15-minute coaching call if you want to see what it's like to work with me on a one-to-one. And I hope that this video has been useful. I'll see you in the next one.